Good morning, and welcome to the Sunrise Safari, but the sun has not risen. Not yet. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Sebastian, and well, we're hoping to find all sorts of wonderful animals. Thank you for those of you that let us know that there was a leopard on the dam cam. We're all myself and Ralph and James this morning will be scratching around trying to find one of those spotted cats. Now, if this is your first time joining us on one of these live and interactive safaris, a big welcome to all of you. Well, don't be afraid to ask questions. We don't bite. All you have to do is hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can also talk to us via the YouTube chat. Right? Shall we head on off? I got excited because there was like one go-away bird that was shouting for about 2 seconds, and it stopped. So I don't know if it was actually shouting at anything. But what Sebastian and I did do is we've already picked up on leopard tracks, just on Gallagher shortcut, that little road that goes towards the Pan. And then they go on an animal pathway, which we obviously cannot drive on, and I can't get out and walk just yet. Well, then I couldn't get out and walk because it was still quite dark. Now we're trying to figure out where do those leopard tracks go. I don't know whose they are. They could be Hosana's, as he was heading in this direction last night after we lost him, and I said to you, keep an eye on him. He could possibly pop out and will end up on the dam cam. I suspect it may have been him. So now we're just going to check the middle road of the open plains behind camp, because how ridiculous would it be if we didn't check this area and he was just on and a leopard was just on a kill somewhere here on one of these beautiful trees. So we don't know where.
Right, good morning everybody. I'm very sorry about that very sudden greeting that you had to make to me. Taylor, unfortunately, broke something on her car. No, I don't think she did. Something broke though. So, my name is James Henry. I'm a little bit discombobulated this morning. I spilt my coffee onto my computer this morning. It was very distressing for me. Anyway, we'll get through it. Senzo is on camera today. Good morning, Senzo. Senzo is now trying to detach the camera from his chest band because it was attached there. We weren't expecting to go live. Let's now talk about some biology. There we have got some wildebeest. Please talk to us, of course, using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter and the chat stream on YouTube. It'd be lovely to hear from you. Our plan today is to head down possibly to try and find Thandi and her cub. Taylor was on the tracks of a male leopard, which could be Hosana, because of course we know that he was seen on the dam cam early this morning. So that's our plan today. And in fact, I see Taylor coming back to camp. And at the moment, I think it might only be us out here. Give us a wave, Taylor. Yeah, Taylor has to go and fix something up at camp. Ralph also has to go and fix something up at camp. And everybody's feeling sorry about my coffee. I'm not sure what I feel more sorry about, the fact that I lost my coffee, or the fact that my computer might be destroyed. Anyway, let's go. The wildebeest seem to be taking up more residence here, and I hope that that lasts. And again, I think it's probably because of the lack of lions in the area. The lions seem to be lurking up way north and way south, and they've just left this area completely. I don't even know where the Nkuhuma Pride is at the moment. So that's why our general game sightings are all right up here at the moment. Sorry, hang on a second. Herbert is now shouting at me. What are you? He says he has tracks of Hosana on the road there. That is Herbert, everybody. In case you were wondering, that fine example of humanity walking along there is going to be tracking, looking after us, and being generally amusing for the course of our walk. Herbie, what have you got there? You've got his tracks there. We can look at Hosana's tracks. Hosana, a young male leopard, of course, just past his 2nd birthday. Ooh, and here he is, and he's got big feet. He's got feet unlike mine. There are his feet. Can you see them, Senzo? There are these tracks here that I'm squaring. That is a big foot. So his feet won't get much bigger, although he will get much heavier. His feet won't get much bigger than that. Very nice. Okay, I feel like my heart rate is slowly starting to return to normal, and I will be able to speak with you in a more functional fashion from now. Oh, that's a very good question. Pangolin, you're wondering how much coffee the camp goes through in a week. Pangolin, it goes through about 4.5 tons of coffee in a week. In fact, there are 3 things on which Wild Earth as a unit, as a company runs. Those 3 things are cable ties, those small plastic things that you tie and go you know what I mean, cable ties, gaffer tape, which is a special kind of tape, and coffee. Those are the 3 things without which this company would not function at all. The cable ties and gaffer tape tie the vehicles together. They tie all the technical equipment together. In fact, they may even form part of the technical equipment. There is so much of both of those things on the cars. And the crew is fueled entirely by coffee. Now, the big thing about coffee in the camp is that there are those who have instant coffee and those who have a much more sophisticated coffee palate. I fall into the latter category, and in fact I look down upon those who drink instant coffee. Some, Viam in particular, choose to drink not only instant coffee, but that stuff, that instant chicory mix that some people find a substitute for actual coffee. And it gives me a great sense of distress on a daily basis to see people going up to the kettle, boiling it, taking out a giant can of this disgusting stuff, and when they could be placing beautiful grounds of Arabica dark roast into a plunger, and then depressing the plunger and inhaling the wonderful aroma and then drinking that. They don't. They take this foul thing in this great yellow can and they put it in the mug, and then they pour in masses of milk onto it and lots of sugar. It's disgusting. Anyway, those sorts of, when I say we go through 3 tons of coffee, I do mean I am including that sort of disgusting substitute that some people insist on drinking. I find it very heartrending. Okay. All the trauma of the morning has been brought back to me now by that question. I'm going to have to recover. While I recover, I'm going to send you over there to Taylor, who is now hearing that she's going to be live, and now she is live.
There we go, James. Thank you so much. It's amazing how technology works. But say hello to Herbie. Herbie yesterday was trying to give me high fives, and I kept doing, hey Herbie, should we show them? Okay, come. We're just ridiculous. Right, so good news. We're just sitting outside, of course, on these open plains, and we've got the track. So now Herbie and I are discussing how this leopard has literally just done an entire circle, obviously trying to catch animals, and seems to have been unsuccessful so far. So I've been instructed to go to Treehouse Dam. Herbie would like me to go and check Treehouse Dam. Look at this Neanderthal walking past here. There's the fashionista. He's grumpy about his computer. What happened to James's computer? Did it break? He spilled coffee over. Oh no, I shouldn't laugh. I wish James had spilled coffee over my computer. That would have been an easy fix. Anyway, so there goes James. And I have to tell you something very funny. Oh my goodness, we're all meeting everyone. We can say hello to Ralph next. So, Seb, I don't know if you can see Hosanna's track. Well, we think it's Hosanna's. I'm not going to get out and show you. Maybe James has showed you already. But they're just on the side of the road. Yes, there we go. That's a leopard track. Walking down. Oh, there's Ralph. Sorry, Seb. He's running away. Wave, Ralph, wave. He's making an escape. He's doing a Ferrari safari to get back to camp as quick as he can. There they go. Zoom, zoom. And I think we will copy him and do the same thing. David in his beautiful knitted sweater. Everybody's very trendy this morning. Anyways, so I have to tell you a funny story though. Obviously, you've been hearing us talk about Luke, and he's just started. We're trying to whip him into shape, and well, hopefully we don't scare him away, because we tend to do that. We tend to scare people away. We're a bit boisterous. So basically, the one day Luke got too excited when he was making filter coffee. Seeing as though that seems to be the trend this morning, and you have to let it brew. Tristan and I had to do a coffee training exercise. James would actually be very proud of us, because how embarrassing is this? There were some people in camp, and the director today is a culprit, that would just pour the coffee in, the filter coffee, into the plunger, add hot water, and then not even stir it. No, James is also going to have coffee lessons. Doesn't stir it. You got to give it a little whisk, a little stir, and then once you've done that, you let it brew for a few minutes. You have to leave it. So we've all got different coffee ways, but I feel like some of us have been trained a little bit better, because if Tristan was here, next time you see Tristan, you must ask him about how we make coffee. I'm going to jump off the road quickly so I don't squash all the tracks. Oh no, James wants us. Perhaps he wants a lesson on how to make coffee. James. Oh no, he's got a stick. You're all my witness if you see what he does with that stick. Wouldn't be the first time.
Need to stir the coffee.
Why?
Because it's not required. Now listen to me. Tracks of this leopard are going straight down the road there.
Yes.
Herbert reckons perhaps Chelapan would be
a good Chelapan.
start.
Okay.
But if you want to carry on down this way and then to Chelapan, or that way and that way, either is perfectly valid and relevant thing for you to be doing.
Should I see if I can do a square and lap you?
I think you probably will succeed.
Okay, we'll go and check Chelapan.
Yes, Sebastian, who is of Gallic descent, is drinking tea.
Yes.
Oh, hang on. You might have to crash cut away, because I'm about to be sick. Right, there we go. So there's obviously a couple of theories in camp about how we should and shouldn't make coffee, or who shouldn't and should drink tea. Craig's a big tea drinker. David has also made himself a juice bottle of tea this morning. That can't be too good. And I'm just going to go. Herbie's up ahead, so he knows where the tracks are. Now, Kirsten is reminding me that Tristan doesn't drink coffee. I think he only drinks it if it's really nice. I don't blame him. I don't want to drink instant coffee. That's not great. Instant coffee is okay though for making iced coffee. That's lovely. That's delicious. Herbie, yes? Which way should I go? This one. And then back around. No, I'm joking. Okay, I'll see you at Chelapan. Bye. Right, Herbie has told me I must go this way. I don't think he wants me driving over the leopard tracks that he's now tracking. So he's sent me in the opposite direction, because he knows I talk too much, and then I'm not actually concentrating on what I should be doing. You've seen it. How many times have I been driving going, nah, and then, give myself a fright because there's a male lion next to the car, or there's a leopard somewhere. I think the lions are the ones the most. Anyways, so there are many different techniques, but Tristan and I will agree that you stir the coffee, you let it brew for a few minutes, and then you find that when you try to press the coffee, it goes down so smoothly, like a little army worm on a thread of silk. And Kirsten has now agreed. It goes down so much easier, and Luke has made this fatal mistake, and we had to educate him, because he just went like this one day, and it sprayed all over his clothes and into his face. It was quite funny. Although I can't talk because I spill things on myself all the time. Like the one time that there should actually be a camera up in camp just outside my room, my step, because there's a tricky spot, and I've got a gammy right ankle that tends to catch me all the time. You've seen it firsthand. Not the mud incident, but the slipping off the animal pathway was the one day I'd walk out of my room, I think I told you, with 2 cups of coffee, and as I came down the step, well, my ankle decided it's going to give way now, and I then fell face first into the sand, but then also threw the 2 cups of coffee towards me. That was quite funny. No one helped me, and then I couldn't see because coffee actually stings the eyes. So everything just wants to target my eyes. I think one day I might just end up going blind because everything always goes in my eyes. Coffee, stink bugs, midges, spiders. No, I've never had a spider in my eye, thank goodness. I don't think I want. Anyways, yes, I do spill everything, Kirsten. I'm clumsy. my mom is, that's probably why my mother's so good at taking stains out of clothes, is because of me. So anyways, let's quickly talk about delicious stink bugs. Hey, how was last night? There's not much we can do about it. I told James about my technique of perhaps wearing a mosquito net. He said I must go for it. So I'm going to have to try and find a mosquito net, and I'm just going to wrap myself in one. Although they can still sit on it though. And then if I talk, they're probably going to panic, and then I'm just going to be trapped, and they're going to release all those chemicals, and it's not going to be very nice. But there are some places in the world that eat stink bugs, but they're bigger. They're massive, sort of they almost look like big shield bugs. And well, so I suppose some people, I would never, ever, not if you paid me a large sum of money, intentionally eat a stink bug. Never. But anyways, there are places in the world where they end up harvesting them by the hundreds of thousands. I think they dry them out and then maybe eat them. I don't know what a deep-fried stink bug may taste like. I can't imagine it would be very nice. Maybe one done in batter. Anyways, so I see the gremlins are already starting to get us, but I better concentrate and try and find this leopard, otherwise I'm going to get whacked with that stick. Off you go to the man yielding the stick.
No, I wouldn't ever whack Taylor with a stick, would I? No, I wouldn't. Okay, the tracks are still steaming fresh. They are on the road in front of us. Taylor's just doing the loop around because obviously she can move a lot faster than we can. And so it's a good idea for her to go towards not known areas where Hosanna might go. Herbert is pounding down the road in front of us. He's not waiting for anything. Anyway, if we find something interesting, we can stop and look at it. Now, Amanda, you're wondering what the temperature is at the moment. The temperature feels like, I'd say about 19 degrees Celsius or so, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, is that right? Yeah. Apparently it's 1864, so I wasn't too wrong. I was wrong on my conversion, but my guess of the Celsius temperature was correct. And it's going to be quite hot today, apparently, about 34 degrees Celsius, which is pretty warm. It's pushing 90 Fahrenheit. It's not bad going for autumn, I don't think. I'm just losing slight track of Herbert at the moment. Never mind, let's have a look down here. Here we have the seeds of Hibiscus micrantha, which of course is a great favourite of many of ours, and an indicator of the coming winter, because of course in the summertime they make those beautiful little sort of pinkish purple flowers which turn white, and then obviously they make these little seeds. Now these are going to be cast to the autumn winds fairly soon. Let's pull one off. You can see just inside there is the seed. And it's something eating in here. It's an elephant. Yeah, I'm just watching her, but he can see it. Let's carry on. And it's obviously going to be blown by the wind. So let's move quickly. I've heard the elephant. Yeah. Herbert is now doing a complicated charades, trying to show me what it is. This is very exciting to have an elephant. Let me just take my ash bag out. The wind is not great for us. Pretty still, but it is swirling a little. So I'm going to be much more quiet now. I'm just going to catch up with Herbie. I'm wondering, Herbert is just continuing. Maybe he thinks this is not a safe option for us. Just be quiet 1 second. I can't hear it anymore. I think Herbie is desperate to find this leopard quickly. Saskia, you say this is exciting. Absolutely, it is exciting. Let's just go up here briefly, see if we can't hear something. There's the sun coming up. The temperature's dropped at least 2 degrees as we've come down into this dip. Yeah, I can't hear it anymore. I think it's probably quite far away. Anyway, let's carry on. We're obviously not going to wander in there. Herbert's moved on for whatever reason. He's moved on. And it's probably because he thinks they're not worth following right now. Anyway, here are the tracks of the elephants. This is interesting, actually. Here are the tracks of the elephants, and the leopard has walked straight over them, which means he cannot be far behind. Right, Ralph has managed to fix his technical problems. Well, I suspect Conrad did that for him. Let's head across to him and say, good morning.
Yes, absolutely. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ralph Kirsten, and you're watching Safari Live. And on the camera, we've got Davy. How's it, Davy? Now, please don't forget to join us on the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter and on the YouTube live chat. Send us your questions and your comments, and join us on this interactive game drive. Now, we've come out this morning. We did have a little bit of gremlins. That's why we've had a small late start. But we're hearing a lot of birds going crazy just near to camp. So I think that I'm going to be heading towards Galago Pan, and we're going to see if there's any leopards walking around. Maybe there's a lion, maybe there's some hyenas. So those are the 3 high-profile animals that I'm going to be after this morning. But let's see what the bush is going to throw to us this morning. And it's wonderful that James and Taylor are out this morning as well. It seems they're on the tracks of potentially Hosanna, the leopard, the little chief that we saw yesterday out on the bushwalk, and then Taylor carried on with after we left him. But I'm hoping that we've got something happening this side as well. Now you can see those impala all clumped up together over there, but as I said, I do want to just follow up a little bit on the noise that is emanating from just to the sort of northeastern side of camp. Heading in that direction. A wonderful, nice, cool start to the morning, but later in the afternoon today is going to be very hot. It's going to be probably the hottest day of the week, about 32 degrees Celsius in the mid 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's going to be an absolute belter of a scorcher today. But nonetheless, that's good news for us this morning, because those animals, they can feel the pressure, you know, the barometric pressure. We as humans, we don't really feel that anymore. But, well, we feel it, but we don't really understand it. And a lot of the animals, they feel it. And, you know, I do a lot of fishing myself, and you can tell when fish go on the bite, it's very much to do with that barometric pressure, whether it's rising or falling. And if it's not at the right kind of pressure, all of a sudden the fish go off the bite. And it's all to do with that change in weather. But for the time being, I think it's a great morning, and I think they might be very active this morning and going quite inactive maybe during the midday when it starts to heat up as much as it's going to today. A lot of birds calling this morning, and there is not a cloud in the sky. Now, I would also love some lions today, Chitty Chatty Meg, and thanks for your comment. That's wonderful. I'm going to try my best. Let's see if those Avoca males are around. We haven't heard them calling for the last few days. They were calling, and we found them, what was it, about 3 days ago? But we haven't seen them since then, and I think they disappeared off onto Biffle's hook. So let's see what's happening down here by the dam. I'll catch up with you just shortly, but let's head on over to James on foot with a beautiful sunrise.
We've got a sunrise, and we're not alone in the sunrise. We have got a decent-sized herd of elephants, which is very exciting. We haven't had elephants for so long here. And at the same time, I can hear some starlings going absolutely crazy in the little riverbed in front of the elephants. And I don't think it's too much of a surprise that Hosana's tracks seem to be going down that way too. So either there's a bird of prey down there, like an owl, or the leopard is sitting not far from the elephants. Oh, special to have these guys on foot. Let's just have a little bit of a wind check. Now the wind is blowing from north to south. Very unreliable this time of the day because the sort of prevailing southeast breeze has not started yet. There is another elephant not too far from us in here, so we just need to be a little bit careful, but we'll go down towards the log over here. Let's see if we can't get a slightly better view. I don't think those elephants are far from Hosana. Isn't that lovely? You can hear the crested barbet going. The birds have stopped shouting now. It would be spectacular to have the little leopard pop out in front of us. Carol, yes, in a word, it is. You say, is it more dangerous when there's a baby elephant around? It can be, but if we're very careful and we understand that the mother will behave in an extremely defensive manner if she becomes aware of us, or if she thinks that we're too close to her and her baby, then yes, potentially it is dangerous. There's another one right here. That's through there. But we're keeping our distance. We have between us and the elephants a fairly deep gully, and we're in no way in a position where she would feel like she couldn't move away if she wanted to. And likewise, if she were to notice us, if the matriarch or the mother of a youngster were to notice us, we could easily melt away sort of into the bush behind us. Just stunning. Oh, look at that. Gizmo, you're wondering if elephants have teeth. Gizmo, yeah, they do. Tusks are teeth. Tusks are the incisors. So your two front teeth, if you're an elephant, would be much longer than they are now. They'd stick out your top lip. Some people's incisors do stick out of their top lips, but that's not because they're tusks. And then they have got sets of molars in their jaws, and those molars, there are 5 or 6 sets of them during the elephant's life, and they are huge, sort of flat, how would we describe them? They're made of plates, but they look like a kind of rough-edged plate, and that's what they use to grind their food, and they get 5 or 6 sets during their lives. I can never remember how many sets it is. Pangolin, I think your question was what causes an elephant to stop producing teeth, is that right? Okay, so let's take a look at, say, the biggest cow over there. When she turns roughly 55 years old, no, it's not 55, it's about 47 actually, I think. 47, her final set of molars will erupt. And they'll slowly come forward down through the jaw, and eventually they will wear out. And that'll happen round about the time she turns 60, I guess. And that's when she will slowly wither away and die of starvation quite often. Now, Pangolin, you're wondering why that happens. Well, that's just age, really, and it's genetics. So, I mean, her DNA is programmed to give her 5 or 6 sets of teeth, and after that time, I'm afraid the genetics just don't allow for another one to come through, because it's, I guess there wouldn't be any real point. I think that it's a very interesting question when you start to think about it, because why then, if she's going to die of starvation, why, and she can breed pretty much until she dies in theory, why then wouldn't she just get another set of teeth if that could keep her alive longer, and that could allow her to produce more offspring? It doesn't make evolutionary sense that it should have stopped at 6 and not 7 or 8 sets of molars. So what I suspect is that the rest of the body probably shuts down around that age, through old age, through the simple wear and tear of old age. And I mean, that's a whole other discussion as to why age, what age is and why it happens and why we start to lose function as we get older. But I suspect that there's probably little point in her getting another set of teeth. I suspect that the elephant should probably stop being able to breed earlier than that. And although not a lengthy menopause, perhaps they do have a short menopause. In theory they don't have one, but perhaps they have a short one. And perhaps therefore there will be no point in her getting another set of teeth, and that's why she hasn't evolved one. Herbie, where are the tracks gone? Treehouse Dam. Okay. Alright, we're going to leave these elephants now, and I'm just going to ask Kirsten to tell Ralph or Taylor that they are on Weaver's Nest Road, these elephants, if Ralph or Taylor want to come here. I think Ralphie's still having a bit of trouble with his signal at the moment. The Treehouse Dam is just down there, so I think we're going to head down there and see if we can't pick up on Hosanna. Maybe Ralph or Taylor will come here. They will tell you that now.
Right, so we just popped off road very, very, very quickly. We heard some Franklin shouting back that way, and then there was nothing. I don't know, these Franklins are playing games with us this morning, because it's like the third set of Franklins that have been doing that. All panicked, sitting up in a tree like they've seen a ghost or a leopard, but no luck. So I don't know what's frightening them. Perhaps there's some smaller cats lurking in the grass, maybe a caracal or a serval, something along those lines. I have no idea. It's a bit too chilly to see a snake slithering around on the ground. So it is actually quite cold. Now, winter does this to us every single year, and we always seem to be so shocked that it's just arrived. I'll still continue to wear shorts. So will Brent. Jane likes to wear a long pant. I don't know about Ralph. I'll have to see about Ralph. Steve, I also don't know. Still don't know. Still getting to know those two fellas. But I will wear shorts right through. Maybe every now and then put long pants on. But I have got my gloves on, and I think they're essential this morning. As it just got quite crisp. And I think my fingers would have frozen off if I didn't have them right. So we've hopped onto Weaver's Nest as instructed by Herbie. No tracks on Gowrie Mains. So that's actually why I went in there, because I thought, well, maybe, just maybe, Hosanna would have cut through the block, and that's why that Franklin was shouting, but that's apparently not the case. So we'll just check here very, very carefully, and the ground is nice and soft, so we should quite easily be able to see leopard tracks or anything on the sand. And then another update, I was chatting to Taxon now on the radio, and last night Brenty was saying to me that his plan was to end up down close by Gowrie Gate in the Sabi sand. And the reason why he was doing that is because the Ngahuma Pride were laying on the boundary on Simbambili. Now, oh, there's a waterback. Simbambili is one of the other private game reserves within the Sabi Sand, and sort of just adjacent to Djuma. And then, well, what happened? They didn't come across. So Taxon has actually checked that section, and he says no luck just yet. So that's good, so he's helping us out. So hopefully we'll all be able to assist one another today. 2 waterbuck cows. One standing in the beautiful golden light, I'm sure drying the dew off of her coat. And the other not so much. Very fluffy creatures, aren't they? Beautiful big ears. Long tongues, big heart-shaped noses, very easy to identify out here in the bush. And I'm sure they look extra fluffy today, as it was a little bit chilly. There was not a cloud in the sky last night. I'm just keeping their ears open, eyes definitely wide open. Making sure Hosana's not stalking them. Hosana likes to take on things that are a lot bigger than himself, apparently. Oh, and an impala has just walked. There he goes by. Where'd you come from? Just passing on through very quickly in between. Now, I definitely will follow up on those elephants at some point, but first we just want to keep checking down towards a Treehouse Dam and just have a quick little scratch and then see how it goes. So let's do that. Let's not waste too much time down here. There doesn't seem to be anything just yet. Nothing just yet, just a lot of sub-adult hyena tracks. And I have seen a clan of hyenas actually running out between, so I wonder if there's something brewing here, a den of sorts, between Weaver's Nest and Twin Dams itself. Anyways, Ralph has been battling the technical gremlins. Perhaps he's managed to keep them at bay. Let's go and see where he'll be checking this morning.
Thank you, yes, everybody. And, it's nice to note that at the moment, we're starting to change of season now, sort of heading into autumn. We're pretty much into autumn now. Although in South Africa, we don't particularly have a massive spring. It's almost like a month each. And so we have a very clear summer and winter. But if I had to close my eyes and to be beamed into South Africa at this, I would be able to tell for a number of without temperature or anything, just from the animals, and that comes down to especially us not hearing any of the cuckoos calling at the moment. So all of the Levalens, the classes, and all the others, the Deirdric's cuckoos, they've all gone quiet, so they've disappeared. The woodland kingfisher has gone quiet as well, so they've all gone on their big journeys now to different parts of the world. The yellow-billed kite, for instance, as well. What else? The little falcon, the Amur falcon, has disappeared. Also on one of the longest flights, non-stop flights of any bird. We're not seeing them around anymore. Straight to China, they've flown. And if we had to look at the grass as well, if you drive around South Africa now, it is very evident next to the roadsides. You have all these beautiful cosmos flowers, the white and pink colors to them. And at the moment, as we drive, you can also see all the grasses now starting to flower. They're all in seed just before that winter months. So they're going to drop all their seeds now and then obviously go dormant until the advent of the rains. Well, the big rains and the start of spring again. So a number of different reasons that we could see exactly what kind of season we're in at the moment. Bill, we can see the smaller cats in winter. Things do get a little bit easier to see, and animals do start to show themselves a little bit more because the resources are less. Plus, all of this thick vegetation that you're seeing in front of us here, if we had to stop right here and take a photo of this particular spot and do it in 3 months' time, you'll see an absolute loss of all of this green vegetation, and you'll be able to see into the bush so much easier. It's and why don't we just stop here as well while we're here and just listen out. But as I say, so the visibility becomes so much easier, and animals start to show themselves because of the less resources. So there's more activity because they need to come out and try and work harder for their meals. So added to the fact that you've got better visibility, yes, we can definitely see more of the little predators. And now there were a lot of the red-billed woodhoopers calling in front, the Schlägerbafazi, and as that dawn chorus starts to come through now. So, let's just start up and go ahead slowly, because we are just trying to see, as I say, with a difficult, thick vegetation, it's quite difficult to see. Now, Vildi, you want to know about the hyena den. Well, I did go back to that hyena den, and it was confirmed that, I think it was confirmed that that female that was digging there, her name was Corky. It wasn't starting a den, but I'm still trying to work out exactly where all of these hyenas keep moving towards. So don't worry, my mission still remains the same. I am going to be looking for these hyenas, but we'll still be looking for leopard, lion, and for me, always hyena as well. Last night I heard them just behind camp, and they weren't whooping like their normal. There was a lot of which normally means that there's something happening, a little bit of activity around food. Okay, I don't know what's happening with the signal, but just in case we lose you, let's go off to James.
We have got a kudu that is hiding in the bushes. That's what they do. We've come down towards Treehouse Dam as well, and just to give you an idea, as you look at that kudu, we left the elephants, of course. They were still browsing in the same place. And the tracks of the leopard went towards Treehouse Dam, and so we continued down the road just to see if he didn't pop out again, which he hasn't. And so we think he's in the block between Treehouse Dam and the elephants where we were. And that, for those of you who are not familiar with the reserve, is sort of southwest central. That's where we are, on Djuma at the moment. Gorgeous kudu car. The light this morning is just spectacular. But it's going to be a cooker. It's going to be a cooker today, Senzo. Okay, let's carry on. Hello, lemon eye drops. You're wondering which season lasts the longest here. Well, in theory, it's the summer, really. We have autumn for the duration of, say, April, and then we have winter for, well, let's say half of May, the latter half of May, June and July, and then, well, August in theory is winter, but it's normally very hot, and spring is for one day, and that's on the 1st of September, after which it's blinding summer for September, October, November, January, February, and then it sort of slowly starts to come off in March. We've got about 6 months of summer. Summer temperatures, certainly, even if we don't call it summer. Now, these things here, look at them, these hibiscus macranthus. Look at all of them about to cast their last seeds to the wind. And it makes me, it's kind of funny autumnal nostalgia that one gets at this time of year. Maybe you don't, but I do. Because this is an annual plant, and it means that its history is over. Its purpose is served, and it will now die once those seeds have been cast to the wind. It will die, go into the soil, become the nutrients that originally it was made from. Which I always think is quite a sort of sad thought, but a cheerful one at the same time, because, well, it's served its purpose. It's produced its beautiful flowers, now it's made seeds, and the next generation will come out sometime during our 6-month summer. Yeah, I think that's quite a nice but slightly sad thought at the same time. Sorry, we had a question there, Kirsten, and I became overcome with my Oh, YouTube viewer, you're wondering about hibernation in reptiles. Most of the animals here that would hibernate elsewhere go into a state here called estivation. And estivation is the need to go into a dormant state, similar to hibernation, because of the not the temperature, but the dryness. So it obviously gets very dry here in wintertime. And so they don't need to go into hibernation because it remains cold, because it really doesn't get very cold here. But it does get very dry. And there's some oxpeckers up here. Just need to be a little bit careful because there has been a buffalo around of late. Oxpeckers, for those of you who are new viewers, are birds that sit on herbivores and eat ticks off them. And so they're a very good indicator of potentially dangerous creatures like beefalo or rhinoceros. Now precisely what I don't want to happen to me happened to Ralph yesterday.
And indeed it did. I think I mentioned it while we were out on the walk yesterday. I've seen that buffalo now twice, and for some reason he's not a very old buffalo bull, but he's on his own. Now, whether he's just been pushed out because of a disagreement with some of the other bulls within the herd, or if he got separated because there were lions, or maybe he just took a snooze and the rest of them just left him behind, I don't know. But for whatever reason, he's a youngish bull. He's in his prime, but he's on his own, and he's very nervous, he's very edgy, and even on the vehicle he was very nervous of us. And then when on foot, obviously you don't want a big bull like that is quite frisky, quite rough and ready, and he's obviously quite ready to charge you. So I've just warned everybody that they need to be well aware that buffalo is around, and they need to be careful, especially out on foot. You don't need to worry too much on the vehicle, because they don't buffalo. I don't know of any buffalo charging a vehicle on foot. What am I saying? A vehicle on foot, charging a vehicle. But on foot, obviously, we need to be super careful of him, because he could. Once again, it's that sort of fight or flight, and it does seem like he's quite ready to fight. So, like humans, sometimes if we do get into those dangerous kind of situations, we also like to fight or flight. Generally, most kind of characters tend towards the flight, and they run away, but you do have people that start to fight. I've been part of the NSRI, which is the National Sea Rescue Institute, and I tell you what, even some people, when you go out to help them when they are in a potential drowning situation, one of the first things that they do is try to climb on your head if you're there, and sometimes even try to fight with you. So one of the techniques that we have been taught as rescuers, as rescue people and sort of lifeguards, is to be ready to punch a person that you can sort of knock them almost senseless. Obviously not going to beat somebody, but if you get to the situation where the person starts to climb on you and it's this kind of fighting survival mode, you just want to hit the person just to sort of shock them, and then you can grab them by the chest and pull them backwards and then start to do your rescue mission. Because if somebody starts climbing on your head, you might end up having two of you drowning, and in that potential situation, a quick punch can just stop that right there, and that's that instinctive sort of reaction that humans have, animals have, everybody has. So we need to be careful of that buffalo, but we won't be punching a buffalo in the face. He's going to be winning that battle, so we just need to avoid him as best we can. And we know he's there, so if we can all just share that information, then we can avoid him as best we can. Now, we're still looking for some tracks of leopard. The sun is getting up already, and I tell you what, the temperature is rising pretty fast. So, and I'm sure there'll be lots of you that will say that that's quite ridiculous, that you need to punch somebody in the face. But if you have not been in that situation where you're trying to rescue somebody and they're in that survival mode, I can tell you what, it's quite regular that you actually need to try and force the person just to relax, calm down. And in that situation, talking to them isn't going to work. You've got waves coming over your head, and people just need to very quickly be sort of almost shocked into being quiet and being still, and you can help those people. Gordon, that's quite a note that you've made, that nobody should be stepping on my head. Well, yes, it's not really stepping on my head, it's climbing on my head when we're in the water. And note to everybody is that I'm trying to help that person, and by helping them I'm actually just trying to stop them from panicking, because panic is the biggest killer in water. People panic, they lose oxygen, they start sort of thrashing around, and if you come up there as the next person that person has seen, you want to immediately climb on top of you so that he can get more air. And so a quick punch is just the easiest way to calm them down. It's not an aggressive thing, and it's not saying that you want to hurt anybody. It's just to calm that situation immediately, and so you can grab them and put them into the rescue position. But yes, don't climb on my head if I'm in the water. You might get a punch. You probably will. So anyway, not that we're in the water now, but Safari Live and Dive Live, we are getting out there and doing all sorts of different things. So lots of wonderful, exciting things on the way. And wonderful to see what Graham and Emily are up to. So you guys can all go onto that Dive Live page and check it out. And so while I continue on this search looking for the tracks, I think the person that will see the tracks the best of all of us would be James. And let's go over to him and see how those tracks are doing.
Well, there'd certainly be the Herbert. I'm not sure it would be seen by me. Herbie's gone the other side of the waterhole here. Let's just pop across there and have a look-see. I don't know what he's seen. Let's go and find out. Not much going on here at the water. A couple of black Smith lapwings. Oh, Samu, you're aged 9 and you say how old do kids need to be to go on safari? There's no real age, Samu. I mean, 9 is certainly old enough. I would be reticent, which means I would hesitate to take somebody younger than 12 on a walk in a bush area like this, because you don't know how people are going to react. But if you're a particularly sort of brave and well-behaved 9-year-old, then you could come on a walk. But on safari, 9 is perfectly old enough. Younger than 6 or 7, people just tend not to remember. And you need to be quite patient to go on a safari, because, you don't see stuff all the time. There's a lot of looking time spent. And very young children just find that a bit boring from time to time. So, yeah, I mean, 9 is fine, but some 7-year-olds will be very interested. Some, I know that when I was 7, I would have been terrible on the game drive because I couldn't concentrate for more than 3 minutes. Now I can concentrate for 5 minutes, so I'm okay. But, most kids sort of, I'd say 9 and up is a good age for you to go on safari, because there is a bit of time where you need to just concentrate and focus and be quiet and that sort of thing. On a walking safari, I'd say about 12 is a good age. But if, you had a really interested 9-year-old and they were very good at listening and they took instructions, well, then I would take a 9-year-old on a walk. Right, Herbert has just disappeared now behind us. You may have noticed we turned around. So let's go to Taylor, who seems to have found what we're looking for.
Right. right, we have indeed. And it's actually not any of the leopards we've been looking for this morning. It seems to be Hukumuri is back. Now, it's very pretty as he's walking through that grass. We have got two other vehicles in a sighting with us, so we need to try and navigate through them. I had no idea exactly what was going on because there's something very wrong with this car's radios today. The volumes are going up, they're going down, they're going up, they're going down, which is making it extremely difficult for me to hear what is actually going on in Final Control, and then, well, also on the Game Drive channel. But I did see his tracks. I'm going to jump front. I did see his tracks. I wonder if those were the ones that we had at Galago, but his tracks were right over the top of mine because I saw as we came into the sighting where I'd stopped in reverse because there were no more coming up that way. He may have just been sitting there waiting. Cool, I'm going to just stop here. Here he comes. Just having a look at him. A big, beautiful cat. And we'll just watch him as he goes past. I still haven't had one stare from him. There we go. Doing what he typically does do. Walking on termite mounds. He's got the most beautiful eyes, doesn't he? So there he goes. Now we'll just sneak around again before he gets too far in front of us. See, this is where we've got the upper hand. Watch yourself here. It's not a... No. I hit a stump. That was a stump. This is the only thing. Okay, we're going under, Seb. Just underneath the bush willow, but we did go straight into a stump. That was fun. I almost broke my arm on the steering wheel. You okay, Seb? Oh no, what are you talking about? That's being a bit dramatic. You've got a flat thing to land on here. It would have been perfect. This is not nice. Okay, I'm just going to wait for him to cross the road, and then you're going to see we're going to lose him in 2 seconds, and I'm going to reverse. I'm not going to switch the car off because we're going to lose him. So let's go back and just poke my nose this way, and we'll watch him walk away. There we go. Go up the termite mound, big boy. So we are on the Power Lines Road now, which is a road lined with power lines, and it's not very long before we hit the boundary, so we'll try and stick with him. Cheryl, yes, he does look in great condition, doesn't he? He's looks nice and fat. Sorry, I haven't actually even had a proper chance to have a look at him at all. We'll hopefully get a moment now. Everyone's going to go around. I'm not going to try and compete with the photographers today. I'm going to let them have the front view. I think if we just stick behind him, just like that, how long that tail is, we'll probably be okay. These guys obviously don't want to take photos of his rear end. We won't mind. But I think this is going to be the only opportunity for us to be able to view him properly. As if we actually just tail him along the road and let them zip on around and get the beautiful front shots that they're obviously after. There we go. I can hear Villiers, one of the photographic guides, saying to his guests, just bear with us, we're just going to get up ahead of him because we want to take front shots, exactly what I've just said to you, which is quite funny. And he's just taking it easy. He's not marching. He's actually moving at the slowest pace I think I've ever seen him move, which is unusual. Normally, he's always got a bit of a beat to his step. There we go. It's so thick at the moment. I bet everybody's excited for, of course, winter. Anyways, well, Ralph has succeeded in finding his absolute favorite animal. Let's go and see if you know what it is.
We've got a hyena here and it's running up the road, so sorry about that, Darby. I know you were zoomed in, but I just want to get up behind it and we can see it, and we're actually quite near to where Taylor is. Here's the power line road, so this hyena is now quite a bit ahead, I think, of Hukumuri, who's with Taylor. Now, it's quite difficult to follow up behind hyena because they very often run, so I don't want to make it do that. Let's just see. Now we are starting to get sort of with the identification of all of these hyena, and I see that there's lots of people that are excited about us seeing some more hyena. Let me just get up behind it here. We've got a nice straight section of road, and then we can see, for those hyena enthusiasts, oh, there we go, you see, a little bit too close, start to run. I will continue to catch up behind it again. Seems like it's staying on the road, and well, it's also good to follow up behind hyena. Hyena whisperer, that's what everybody's saying. Well, I won't quite say that. All I'll say is that I do have quite an interest in them, but I've still got lots to learn about hyenas, and that's what's so exciting. If you spend time with him, wow, he's moved, eh? Look at that. He's got some distance on us. As I say, I don't want to scare him, but look at that. Just starting to trot. Ooh, stopped for something. So it's always interesting. You know, I wonder what he stopped for. Stopped to smell something there, maybe a little bit of a pasting next to the road. Nikki, hyenas don't really fall prey to leopard. They can do if they're a little bit vulnerable, if they're injured or so on, but generally hyenas will scavenge off leopards, and sometimes the reverse as well. Let's just stop there and just get a nice view on him. Very black tip to that tail, hey? That might be quite a good identifying feature. Right, once again, it's not always easy to follow hyena because they move, hey? It's not as easy as following lion and leopard sometimes per se, but at least we've got an animal here that is worthwhile watching, and well, hyena are always worthwhile watching, aren't they? So let's stop here once again, see if we can get a view on it. As it walks through the golden light, it's going to turn that corner soon. A very black end to the tail. Come those satellite dish ears once again. See, we had a nice distance from it, and it's quite comfortable with our presence, but it still knows that we're here. Let's look at that spot pattern. See, oh look, see the one tip of the ear? The one ear is very pointy, the other one very rounded, so it's almost lost a little bit of the tip of the ear there. That might be an identifying feature that somebody might know of. Let's go see if we can catch up a little bit. It's gone off the road now. We might be able to just loop around. I'm not going to be bashing through the bush for this guy because they will very quickly, once I start bashing, then it's going to run away. So I'm just going to loop around and catch up with it that way. Very interesting to see where it goes. There it is. We're just coming up broadside with it. Try and get ahead of it a little bit and see if we can get some facial features. It is just next to us there. Right, let me get a little bit ahead. There we are. And that's it. Running towards us. It's obviously on a beeline to somewhere. And it's running into the wind. Maybe it smelt something. Maybe it's on its way to something interesting that we would be interested in as well. Arlene, I'm going to try my best to find that den. But Arlene, I'm sure you know that it is rather difficult to find a den of hyena because they are so elusive. They run around like this all day, every day, well, mostly during the night. But this is a good time to be following it because if it is heading to the den, well, we might be able to find that, but all we're going to do is just try and keep up with it a little bit. As it's in the open here, quite easy for us to follow it, but if it goes into the stuff, obviously then it becomes a bit more difficult. There it is. We've still got a view on it. It's hot footing it somewhere, and it's heading up onto. Ooh, it's just turned around. You see? Now, what's you up to? It's not really running with. It's running with purpose, but it's sort of just stopped and changed direction. Oh, it's changed direction again. Okay, while we try and work out what this hyena is doing, let's head you on over to Taylor, who's with Hukumuri.
We're about to lose him again. I think we're going to have to try and come to us as quick as possible. We're going to have to reposition again. There he goes. He's obviously on the move, and he's moving exceptionally quickly at the moment. We're just getting little gaps of him all the time, but we'll try and catch up to him again. We will do our absolute best. I am going to have to concentrate on the road in front of me, though, otherwise Sebastian and I are going to start breaking bones. It is so thick in here. And we are trying to get up ahead of him so we don't have to move around so much. He doesn't look like he's interested in hunting right now, but of course leopards are opportunistic feeders, and you know, he might be walking and then see something around and take that opportunity, but for the moment he's just scent marking everywhere. I think he's re-establishing himself up here on Djuma. Okay, Sabi, you ready to go through the little archway? Okay, this one is not nice. Oh, here he comes. That's perfect. We'll take a quick gap over here. Here he goes. You are going to hear the serious shutter of many cameras. You're going to hear brrrr when the other vehicles get quite close to us. So I do apologize for that. It's not me taking photos this time. I'm honest with all of you. I always tell you when I'm going to take a sneaky picture. There you go, lifting his tail up again. Scent markings just behind that bush willow. There are all the very excited photographic guests. This is what I'm hearing at the moment. Walking through the golden grass. Very pretty. The grass is, however, a bit long. There we go. And then we're going to have to catch him again. Okay, Seb, watch this one, because that's not a nice one. Swatch your brown hair. Hey! Oh my goodness! Hukumuri, stop going so quickly! And he's not walking fast either. It's just that it's so easy for him to move through on these small animal networks than it is for us to try and crash through in a big car. He's still going. I've still got him. I'm trying to actually keep one tire on this animal path that I'm on now because it's helping me a little bit. Wait, a little hole. We also need to watch out for big aardvark burrows. Okay. Oh, hallelujah, road. Woo! I'm so excited. There's a road. He's gonna pop out on the road. Okay, Seb, last little archway. Breathe in. Breathe. This is a tight little gap. He's coming. I'm going to just sit here like this so that I don't block the view. He's coming right on this animal pathway of Johan, who's waiting patiently and has been waiting patiently. Here he comes. You can see him slowly. So we just want to keep out of his shot so he's got some nice clear pictures. We're going to come right out next to the car. Now, he's definitely not afraid of the vehicles. That's for sure. Hello. Just glancing at us very quickly.
Hello.
Oh, wow. There you go. Just going around. Looks like he's got an injury in his top right shoulder. I don't know if you can see there. Something's going on over there. Oh, it's a bit late now. I think I saw a cut or something just on the top, not right, top left, sorry. It didn't look like anything too serious. Maybe just a scratch of sorts, perhaps from an altercation. It wouldn't surprise me if he didn't have one or two altercations. And he's just going past another vehicle. I have to turn the car on with this hand now. We will try back. Oh, I need to go out of 4x4, sorry. Here! Okay. Morning. There we go. Just waving to Johan. I'm not sure who I'm sending you away from, but I've got a blockade of cars now. We'll try and zip around once again to get another view, but off you go to somebody somewhere on Djuma.
Yes, it is us somewhere on Djuma. And we've gone to the waterhole where I last saw you. We've come back through the block to where we saw the elephants over here earlier this morning. We found where Hosana sat down on the road. We can see his very neat little pug marks. Walked in here, found one track, and so we continue on the tracks. There are impala running from time to time in the block here, but none of them are shouting or alarming, which means that they haven't seen the leopard, because they would certainly shout if they had. But what's very interesting is that there are birds shouting everywhere, and I'm not sure if they're just having a territorial dispute. It's a whole lot of magpie shrikes. They might just be having a territorial dispute. Tony Two Toes wants to know which animals are the most comfortable with us on foot. Well, Tony, it depends on the situation and the animal. You know, different animals can be a little bit more comfortable than others. Not all animals are the same, Tony. It's like not all people are the same. Some are comfortable in a conflict situation, some are not. So with the animals out here, you'll find, Tony, that it's young male leopards that are good on foot. They tend to be confident. They tend to be curious about life. So they're good on foot. When they get older, they don't like it so much. Otherwise, some elephants, big bulls, guys have seen it all. They're pretty comfortable with people on foot sometimes. But it's the buffalo. You don't want to be around them, Tony. They don't like people on foot, man. They don't like people. So I say young male leopards, big elephant bulls, they're most comfortable with people on foot. Thank you, Tony. I hope those toes of yours get better. It's not good to live with only two. It's not good to live with only two toes, Tony. I'm sorry about that. I'm assuming you lost them in some kind of family war, you know? That's why I move out here. We don't have that stuff out here, Tony. Okay, let's carry on. Herbert is walking up and down. I'm going to stop talking like that now. Sorry. It's my long-lost desire to be a Hollywood star. Thank you very much. Apparently a few of you gave me kind compliments of my Godfather impersonation. It's very kind. This time of the day, one is just getting a little bit tired. And so we have our sugared porridge in the form of panicum seeds with sugar. You see the sugar here? Sensible? Annie, you say, why, how did I not end up being a movie star? Well, it's a question I ask myself every day. It's a question my parents ask every day. In fact, they don't ask that at all. They know exactly why. I'm still deluded enough there. Kazumakanjan. Okay. So that sugar comes out of the grasses normally, like I said before, in January or February. But this year, because we've had late rain, they're producing it now. It's actually got a nice snack. Although when I gave some to Sindel earlier, he turned his imperious Zulu nose up at it and sort of didn't seem particularly impressed by it. He really wasn't. I said, look, it's nice sugar. He said, Anyway, luckily we're not too far from camp. We can go and get some real food after we've finished our delightful Tuesday morning walk. Come on, Senzo, you go through there first. Well done. Okay, so what we're doing now is basically zigzagging up and down if you look down here, you can imagine how impossible it would be to find a leopard track. And if you're thinking about how to envisage that, many of you have had dogs or cats. Think of something like a Labrador walking through this area, weighs about the same, maybe a little bit heavier, but they're not going to leave a mark unless they step right into a patch of dirt, and you look right at that patch of dirt. You're not going to see where they've moved. And so Herbert is just zigzagging up and down here to see if he can't find another sign. All right. Nice that we've had Hukumuri again this morning. I think Taylor's had to probably move out because of thousands of vehicles in the area. Let's see where she's going now.
Well, James, guess what? All we did was we switched out with Ralph. His Hyena disappeared off of the road and seems to be heading in the same direction as Hukumuri. So we thought, well, let's let Ralph carry on. As most of you know, on Saturdays we're doing the Safari Lives show, which is quite cool, about big cats and all the other wonderful characters that we see here. So I'm not going to be here for that. I'm going on holiday on Friday. Little happy dance, woo, holiday. Everybody gets excited about holidays, you can imagine. I only go on holiday for a week and then I miss the bush, so I thought it would only be fitting that then Ralph maybe continues the sighting, and good luck to him off-roading through that thicket. I don't want to do any more of that off-roading. He's gone into an even worse block now. So off he goes, and I think that he should catch up to him in a couple of minutes. But he's heading into one of his favorite areas too, where we've often seen him climbing up tops of termite mounds. I think you've had some amazing sightings, especially with Scott, when Hukumuri was sort of a regular on the show, and maybe he's going to demonstrate very nicely for Rolf how he's so good at climbing up termite mounds. Wouldn't that be amazing? So we're going to move out of the area. We'll go back down towards Treehouse Dam. Now, funny you should mention this, James, inquiring about any updates on Shidulu. And the reason why I say this is because I did have female leopard tracks on the southern road that goes from Shibamo Road towards Treehouse Dam. I don't know how fresh they were, though. I had a quick look at them, and I mean, they didn't look beautiful. They weren't steaming, so I don't know if they're maybe from the other day and someone has just sort of missed the track all the time. Just checking here. And I don't know if those are hers. They could be another leopard's too. It could be another female leopard. So we will go back and have a look. Maybe Hukumuri has picked up on the scent of Shidulu and is maybe seeking her out again. I'm not really sure, but he's definitely on a mission this morning. But I think he's definitely just reinstalling himself into the northern Sabi Sand, because he has been absent for a little while. I'm trying to think, when was the last time we actually saw Hukumuri? Can't remember. In fact, I know the last time that I saw him, he pulled a disappearing act right in front of my eyes at Treehouse Dam. Remember, we stopped to listen to the birds, and then he came walking down the road, which was quite cool. So I think Kirsty's just said she thinks it was just before Tristan left they had Hukumuri. It sounds about right. So it's nice to see him back again. 10 days ago, my goodness, look at the detectives in Final Control this morning, hey? 10 days ago is when we sort of last saw him. So, sneaky cat. And I don't know where he's been hanging around. I think he's sort of been Arathusa, Simbambili, maybe Elephant Plains side, so just a little bit west from where we are. We aren't able to traverse on those private properties. So yeah. Ooh, do you know what we can go and do as well? We can go and find those elephants again. I'm always excited to spend some time with the elephants. So we'll eventually head on around that way. We're just going to jump onto Balanites Road. We're just moving out of this area as to not to disturb everybody. So yeah, we decided to stay a bit longer because we actually didn't get many views of Hukumuri. There are a few other people, but Taxon and Aubrey have moved on out to go look for other things now. So there was one more spot. Oh, fabulous. Look at that. Everyone's just feeding me information like I'm a baby bird waiting in a nest. James, thanks so much for giving me that tip. He said I must try Ingwe Alley for those ellies. That's sort of where we had them the other afternoon, remember? When we had the return of a breeding herd and we had those little hairy elephants playing in the golden light. So that's where we'll be headed to. We'll check there. have a scratch around. I don't know, maybe Hosanna pops up. I didn't see any of Hosanna's tracks crossing out. Well, not at Weaver's Nest, and not between Weaver's Nest and Twin Dams Road. So we'll scratch around. Right, now, like I said, Rolf is going to be doing some serious off-roading this morning, but he's fairly good at that. Let's go see if he can see the tip of Hukumuri's tail.
You say fairly good at it. I think I'm brilliant at it. But Brent would say otherwise, but because I get stuck all the time. But everybody, it seems like that Hyena, in fact, was Comet, the clan male. So now what is very interesting, in fact, is that, okay, what has happened? Hukumuri, she was here with one of the other vehicles. I tell you what, if Taylor wasn't following Hukumuri, and I didn't know that she was in the area, we were following Comet, and Comet was doing really strange backwards and forwards, and we were wondering what in the world he was up to. Kept on putting his nose down, sniffing, and then turning around and running up and down. And I tell you, he would have led us straight to Hukumuri, because we popped out when Taylor called us in. She said she had hurt her hand and she couldn't carry on off-roading, so she asked if we would take over. So we came in, and we then spotted Comet, who was right near to Hukumuri. So that is very interesting, and exactly what I was saying earlier, how if you follow Hyena, they can lead you to all sorts of different places, and you might find lion and leopard and all sorts of different animals. So I'm going to stick with that theory now. It's just been proved by a little Comet. Amanda, good question. The hyenas, I would say, they do present themselves as more dog-like, and I would have to lean towards more being like a dog, but yeah, it's a tough one. I would tend to say that, but other people would say more like a cat. Now, speaking of a cat, we've got Hukumuri. He's just up ahead, but he's on the move. He is marking as we go, so that's why I'm just continuing. You might get a fleeting visual every now and then, but we're just trying to stay up behind him. And we've got one of the other game viewers here. I met Johan just a couple of days ago, and he's the guide in front with the guests, driving just behind Hukumuri, but also respectfully, and a very nice chap indeed. So, Hukumuri, yes, we haven't seen him for about 10 days. It's been a while, and I've never been out with him on drive, so this is a first for me. The ones that I have been with, I think, is Hosanna, Tingana, Tandi, and Shudulu. This is the first time with this particular cat. So I'm starting to learn the different individuals slowly. Yeah, it's obviously spending more time with them and knowing the different traits and characteristics. I think I could pick up Shudulu quite easily now, because I spent that full day with her just about, and also know just from her the way that she operates, how she's so mobile, and you know that kind of age that she is actually brilliant for a leopard. She's the perfect age. I like that kind of age where they're around that about 3 years old, and full of life, full of energy, you know, running up a termite mound, walking along the road, jogging, jumping up a tree, you know, just chasing squirrels. It's fantastic. Where, like for instance, Tandi, a little bit older, she'd walk a bit slower, you know, and just more of a lady, which is also great, but very different. I just like that very youthful exuberance. Ooh, that's very interesting. Thank you, Crystal, who seems to be quite a hyena expert, saying that wasn't Comet. That's a male that hasn't been named yet. Wow. Let's add that one to the ID kit, and let's see if we can get a name out there sometime. Fantastic. I love finding animals that nobody's seen before. Our pangolin It's up to you. You sure? Okay, thanks. I can't see him for now. Just tell me if you see him. Sorry, Pangolin, I will answer your question now. I just need to catch up quickly with this leopard. Oh, there he is. I got him. So, pangolin, yes, there are other ways. You look for any kind of little notches on the ears, and you look for any kind of real physical trait that would be different. So, notches on the ears or cuts on the face, etc. Then you also look at their spot pattern, and as I say, the spot pattern is if there's nothing really seriously characteristic about that animal, and then the spot pattern. So that's the most important. And he's gone flat. So let's just stop here, give him a chance just to relax. It's gone nice and flat there. What a beautiful leopard this is. It's a big male, Hukumuri. And I did watch a while ago when Noelle, who has now left us, she had him when she had that double kill that morning. It was still part of the National Geographic show, and he killed a warthog, and then I think after that he tried to kill another warthog, but I think then he got a duiker, all in one morning's drive. So this could be wonderful for us. It seems a very efficient hunter. He's been walking now and marking as he's been going, and I think that's also quite a bit of marking. You know, when cats rub, they are also marking as well, rubbing their smell in onto the grass. Oh, he's on the move again. Let's follow him. See where he's off to. I think I might go around here, unless there is a gap there. Going into really long grass now. It's going to be quite tough to follow him. Let's just get through here quickly. Okay, everyone, while I try to catch up with Hukumuri, and in the long grass here, there he is, he's just in front, but let's head you on over to James, who's also walking through the long grass.
We are walking through the long grass and asking ourselves why it is that Hyena would have come down here. We found some more tracks in the middle of the block, but unfortunately they seemed to peter out, which is not surprising, in amongst all of this grass. So that's the story of our leopard hunt. But we're also looking for little things, fun little pieces of biology that might interest you and me at the same time, such as this. That is the uthika of a praying mantis. Lisa, you say, do I think that Hukumuri will make Hyena relocate somewhere else? Yeah, I do, actually. I think Hyena is, he's been around here because he's been with his father, who hasn't been so well. Tumba was around here as well for a while with his father. But I think Hyena is a relatively social fellow for a leopard, and I don't think Tingana's put too much pressure on him, and so he's hung around. But I can't see him staying around in the face of a completely strange male who looks like he's out for a fight. So, yeah, he may well, unfortunately, move on if Hukumuri moves in. A uthika, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is a little egg box, or egg sack. It's not so much a sack as a box. A polystyrene box. A cooler box for eggs. Egg cooler box. And well, pangolin, you say, do I prefer walking on the grass or in the road? Depends on the time of the day. If you look at my foot here, you can see that it is wet. The foot inside the shoe is wet. The leg is wet. It is sticky. So at this time of the day, I prefer to be on some dry, open, plain area. But in the afternoon, when it's not so wet, I enjoy walking off the road much more. But it is very wet at the moment. There is the great humanity that is Herberto, standing on a termite mound, like a kudu, but even more magnificent. And now he says we're going to go off to the east because we have not any further tracks in this area. East we go. Oh, we're going to go here first. Hang on a second. Are we going across the Hukumuri first? Let me just quickly see here. No, I think let's go back across to Hukumuri. I think that's what I was asked to do. I can't remember.
Well, everyone, it seems like he's just paused for the minute. Look at that beautiful light that is now shining on him. He's on the side of a termite mound. If he relaxes nicely, I will shift up also to give the guys behind me a nice view, but nicely relaxed there on the side of a termite mound. He's starting to groom a little bit, so I might just shift up a little bit. Let's go a little bit forward. Onto this side over here. There we are. That's it. And we can get a much better view on him there. Just give the guys behind us a bit of space too. Obviously I can't go too close and disturb him. But you see that? He's not worried about us with the vehicles at all. Just wondering about the guys behind him. You see, we've got a wonderful short wheel-based vehicle. We can maneuver very easily in the thick bush, whereas a lot of these game viewers, they've got the long wheelbase, so they struggle a little bit more. They've got to do a lot more turning than, reversing and turning and coming forward and stopping again. So there we are. There's another vehicle coming up next to us. And look how relaxed he is, hey? Romit, that's a fantastic question. I like it. What could we as humans learn from leopards? Well, I think that we could learn how to live in balance with nature, not taking more than we need. Leopards generally use all the food, and they feed and they eat on all the meat that they sort of access or utilize. So they'll kill an animal and they'll store it up in a tree, and they'll come back and they'll eat all of it. And whatever gets left is generally eaten by hyenas and so on, and then they'll move off and go and do that again. And also, I would say, a little bit of solitude. It's good to enjoy being in wild places by yourself, to your thoughts. And a lot of people have a leopard as their sort of spiritual self because of that kind of nature that they have, of being alone, being solitary. But they do seek out other leopards at times. It's like that relationship with Tingana and Hyena, which is quite unusual with leopards, but very interesting at the same time, that they do still seek company. But I would say the biggest thing that I would take from leopard is just being in tune with nature and using, not wasting anything, if I can say that. Beautiful setting. Lovely morning light as this leopard grooms himself. Probably one of the cleaner of all the cats. Lions aren't that particularly clean, not as clean as leopard anyway. They don't groom as well as leopards do. They do groom, but I wouldn't say as well as leopards. And these are absolutely beautiful. Look at that thick neck, all that power in the front quarters. That will enable Hukumuri to be able to carry those big prey, like big impala and maybe even young kudu up a tree while he's holding it in his jaws. So he needs a thick neck, he needs muscular front legs and shoulders. See how he licks his paw and then wipes it over his face? So obviously he can't get his tongue around to that area, so that's what he's doing there. as you see little house cats doing as well. Sort of lick there and make it wet and then wipe it over their face. So very high profile sightings are these with the leopard. And as I say, that not comet, the no-name hyena would have, I think, led us straight to Hukumuri if we weren't indicated by Taylor where he was. An hyena would be, especially a male like that, he'd be just following up behind a leopard like a jackal would, just in case there might be a couple of scraps of meat available. Opportunists to the max are hyenas, especially the males. They don't get to really feed off the clan kills, so they got to scavenge wherever they can. And this Hukumuri, definitely not a scavenger. I think he would chase somebody off a kill if he had the chance, but he's definitely a very good hunter himself. He can find his own food. It's just a shame that light's not hitting him like it's hitting there on the grass. He's already taking up a little bit in the shade. That's an indication of how hot it is already. The flies are out. It's still early in the morning, and as I said, today's going to be a scorcher, especially for this time of year. That mid-90s Fahrenheit, 32 or so, lower 30s Celsius. Oh, Stanley Cubed, as I call you now, you would probably put yourself in harm's way if you wanted to jump out and pet him. I think if you had to jump out right now, he'd probably run up that termite mound or possibly run away. But I wouldn't take a chance. He might just have you for breakfast. Stanley. You need to be careful with a cat like this. They look very cute, but they are killing machines. But I'm sure you know that. But yes, he does look like he's quite strokeable, isn't it? And luckily we won't be testing that theory. Looks like he's done his morning chore of marking. I wonder when last he fed. I heard that he was on Arethusa a couple of days ago, and he was on a kill. I don't know what the kill was, whether it was a duiker or an impala, but some of the other guides from Nkoro actually told me, and Kirsten telling me in FC that it might have been a warthog. So it seems he's quite a good warthog hunter, because I saw that with Noel as well. So that's twice that he's hunted warthog, but well, it can fall a big part of the leopard's diet. So while we sit here and wait and see if Hukumuri gets up in this golden light, let's head you on over to Taylor, who's I think on the search for those big guys.
I can't find the elephants. Can you believe it? I don't know where they've gone. They must have dipped into a little drainage line of sorts. So we're just scratching around looking for all sorts of wonderful creatures. So I'm just checking on this road to see if the tracks come out. I don't think so. I think those elephants are going more south, but they could possibly still be in this drainage system just down below us. Don't know. I don't know where they're gone. I would love to find them though, but they're somewhere around here. And if we don't find them, I don't know what we're going to do today. Kirsten, what should we do today? Kirsten says I'll find honey badgers. Now, seeing as though we're on the hot topic of elephants, Gordon Obviously we have African elephants here, you know this, but the differences between Asian elephants is the only ones that I can tell you from what I've read in books, because I've never seen an Asian elephant before. Our African elephants are larger and have got exceptionally big ears. Oh, look, it's James. He doesn't have big ears, though, like an African elephant. But he can hear very well. I'm trying to turn the car off. We'll get back to that in a little jiffy.
I can move my ears.
Can you? Can we please see you wiggle your ears? Oh, I'm so excited. I don't think I've ever seen James do this trick before.
Can you move your ears?
Mm-mm. Like this?
You're watching me.
Yeah.
Probably better from behind.
So subtle. Kirsten has just said that's pathetic. That means, Charlie, how disappointed are you?
I mean, do you think I could fold them down?
Swat flies with them. How did you do that? How are you? No, I can be making my jaw move, but I'm not moving my ears.
Are you trying?
I'm trying.
No, yours don't work either, I'm afraid, Senzo. Senzo can't do
Is
it.
there a button that you press?
Herbert, can you do it?
No.
Can you do it, Seb?
No, okay.
You can't.
Seb's doing it behind his
headphones.
Seb can do it so well that the headphones are moving, yeah. Are you just clenching your jaw when you do it?
Yeah, I'm moving my ears.
I can do it.
Yeah, we can both
There
do
you go.
it. We're highly evolved or less
Check
evolved
How can you talk and do it at the same time?
because we're very clever.
Yeah, we can talk.
They're doing this face though.
We can drink a beer and move our...
Yeah, we can do our listen, one direction, multi-directional listening.
What's happened to the safari? This is what happens when we can't find any animals. I can do a handstand, that's all.
I can't.
I'm not doing one.
No.
Can't you do a hand? You have to do them on the wall, up against the wall
Yes.
still. At gym today, shall we have a competition? I'll teach you how to
No,
do a
you
handstand.
beat me. Now, on the subject of leopards,
Yes.
he sat on the road here, and we had the elephants in here,
Okay.
and I don't know, we can't find any more tracks of him in there, but no more on the road either.
So
I don't
he's
know.
here somewhere.
here.
He's playing games with us.
Were you driving where, Addy?
I did.
Pangolin track?
Be very careful going down Pangolin Track, please.
Ah, yes, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
You checked the
Um,
pan.
Yes. Yeah, I checked Cello Pan. Pan? Oh, they are there with you now.
They're on our feed now.
Bye.
Okay, good. Okay, right. Okay, we'll watch out that way. Are we live with, whose sound are you with?
You. Did those elephants, were they going south? Was that their general movement?
They were just sitting in the drainage
I think
system
they
here.
might still be in there because there's no tracks of them coming out on Pangolin Track or Chele Pan.
Yeah,
And I
so
sat
they were
with
just
them because
going
I tried
along.
To wiggle my ears a
Did
bit.
you?
I'll go around them. I'm just going to do
Okay.
loops.
You must use your hands to wiggle your ears if you can't do it with your just
Okay. Well, I'll
muscles.
give you a shout if I see you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Oh, wait, hang on. We want to see Seb wiggling his ears.
Oh, yes. no,
Seb,
no, we
please
can
show us.
see it.
Under the headphones?
Yes.
Yeah. For Ndlovu.
Ah, there we go.
I can't fold them down. Though.
No.
I can move
Oh,
them
okay.
backwards.
I'll go again.
What a fantastic safari this is. This is world-class entertainment, everybody. Kind of stuff you couldn't pay for. All right, let's continue. We're just going to walk down the road here and then see if perhaps we didn't miss a track or two. It is a glorious morning. Ooh, what is this? What have we here? In this black monkey thorn, acacia, no, not acacia senegalia, Burkii, this minute spider. It's made its home here, and I suspect that is probably almost an exclusively ant-eating spider of some description. You'll find these branches covered in ants a lot of the time, but interestingly not at the moment. I think that's probably got something to do with the weather. But I also, oh, there's the spider. It's a jumping spider. This is probably the egg sac inside there of the jumping spider. Here it is over here. Unfortunately, no, whoa, don't move. You're going to move the jumping spider. Senzo was caught by the tree. Here's the spider. You see him there? What I was going to say before I spotted the spider is that there are not a great deal of leaves on this Senegalia Burkii tree. That's obviously because it's been browsed extensively, and at this height I would have said it was probably kudu that had been eating from the thorny branches. I suspect it is a jumping spider like that one that has enclosed some eggies in that sort of silken case there. Try and move him up a little bit. There you go. There we are. Look how fast they move. Oh, she's probably going to bite me now. I'll drop dead immediately. Highly venomous. I'm joking, they're not venomous at all. Ah! I got thorned. There he goes. You still got him. He's not doing much jumping, but you can see how fast his movements are. And there we go. Right, let's see if we can catch up with Herbert. These are so vicious. I don't know if you watched the show yesterday, when Ralph demonstrated what it's like to get... Oh, my stick. When Ralph demonstrated what it's like to get stuck in a buffalo thorn. And he pushed himself back into it and then tried to walk out. And it really was, I wouldn't have done it, but it was quite amusing. Very impressive to see how clever those thorns are at catching things. Now this is exactly where we had the elephants. And I wonder if I can't show you where he was sitting. Sammy, you say, do people watch out for snakes when we're on bushwalk? Yes, we watch out for snakes, Sammy. Absolutely, we watch out for snakes. We don't see them very often, though, and the reason we don't see them very often is because they hear us coming. They can feel our footfalls, and they move away. Okay, here we have got 2 tracks. You see them there? And this is from where he was sitting. So he would have put his feet down there, and where this car track is, his bottom would have been. And here was his front foot, and he was clearly looking into where Herbert is now. There's Herbie. Then he took 2 steps forward, and he walked there, and then he walks up into this much sort of more, it's crusted earth, and becomes very difficult to see his tracks. And Herbert managed to see 1 track over here, and you won't see it. I can't even see it. It's in that little patch of dirt there. And that's the last we've had of him. So he could have gone pretty much any direction from there except onto the road, because he hasn't gone onto the road. All right. That's our story, starting to heat up rather nicely. And while it does that, let us go back to the usurper, Hukumuri.
Yes, well, everyone, he's gone on the move again, which is always very exciting. And now I see what Taylor was talking about a little bit earlier, that seems like he's got an injury, because I can just see him limping a little bit. I think it was on the right front leg, if I'm not mistaken. So now he's just crossed the road, he's gone into the thick stuff again, but we will continue to follow. Always very exciting. Yes, yesterday I got stuck in a nice buffalo thorn, didn't I? But I found it a lot more difficult to get stuck on with the vehicle here in the Sabi sands than in that very clayey mud that we get in the Masai Mara. this for me a lot easier to drive around here, and I understand this a lot better because of my experience in Namibia with very gravelly, sandy soil like this as well. Very much like what we see in the Mlawati. That's pretty much what we drive on all day, every day in the Namib, having to very often deflate your tires, and then in the northwestern area, there are a lot of rocky and muddy areas there can be, but generally it's in those dry riverbeds that we go looking for the elephants and the desert lions. Yeah, up front. He's still walking in front of us here a little bit. There he is, just beyond that bush. It looks like he's going to drop down into this drainage line. Colin, that's an interesting question. Would we be able to know if these guys are depressed? I think he's going for a drink. It's quite difficult to know. See that Franklin now getting bumped up by him. Let me just get a little bit closer so that we can actually see him drinking. Colin, you would actually just have to look at their body language, because generally in their face, it's not going to be telling you that. The expression is not as clear as it would be with humans, for instance. So yes, they can be depressed, especially if they're injured or anything like that. And it's but I think it's a different emotion with them. It's more physically what they normally would be able to do. So let's just pull up here behind him. He's having a drink. Look at that. That's a wonderful shot, that. Having a very thirsty leopard there. See, and if we had to go there afterwards, very interesting tracks that he leaves right next to the water. And if you look very slowly and very closely at how his tongue goes out, and he actually grips the water with the top part of his tongue and then scoops it back. So quite difficult, the sipping part. So he's not sucking up the water, he's literally lapping it. Very much like dogs do as well, but putting the top portion of the tongue onto the surface of the water, and then it's not really a little bit of a scoop, but it's also just like that scientific, what is the name of it, I forget, but it's just grabbing it as opposed to scooping it. The ears a little bit flat, tail flicking slightly. Squirrels starting to alarm call now on the other side of the pond. As I say, those tracks are very interesting because now you can have the whole part of the foot, the back foot, on the ground. That's the whole foot. See, right up to where you think that might be. That is where the ankle is there, which is normally raised off the ground. So that's why we say digitigrade, walking on the toes. Now the whole foot is on the ground. There's his foot there. But when he walks, then that ankle is raised. And you'll see once he stands up, you'll see what I mean. Venom, yes, the water is safe for them to drink. It looks a bit murky, but it's just got a few insects in it and so on, and a little bit of mix in there. So, I don't know what he's set up there. Listen out. So he's rasping. That's a territorial call. Wonderful. That you almost feel it in your bones. Very different to that of a lion, but the very rasp call of a leopard. That is beautiful. Ah, he's moving off. He's had his drink. Okay, I think we're going to have to do some bundu bashing to catch up with him now. He's done his rasp. He's doing a bit of a spray. Let's see if we can catch up. In the meantime, let's head you on over to James, who's got a little home of someone.
We do have this home of someone. It is the home of a blue wax beetle, and it's in the same tree I was showing you earlier, well, same species, the Senegalia burkii, and it's a little blue wax bill that just flew out of there. And there might be some eggies inside, but I don't want to disturb it. But what amazes me is that that bird has to be massively accurate in order, firstly, for it to build the nest there without getting snared in the thorns, and then to get into it. You can imagine that it's probably got to fly almost directly through the branches into the little entrance hole there. And it's a brilliant way to stay hidden and away from things, or safe from things like snakes, because snakes will struggle on a thorny tree like this to climb in there and eat out the eggs, first of all, like an egg eater might, or the chicks, which a boomslang certainly would, a tree snake or a vine snake. Isn't it perfect? It looks like such a cozy, fun little place to live. And he's got a lovely eastern view, so he's got a view of the sun coming up every morning. Oh, it's definitely still active. We saw the bird fly out of it, and it's obviously sitting by, probably quite close, hoping we'll go away without disturbing the nest, which of course we will. There's something inevitable about Hukumuri at the moment, isn't there? Oh, Mrs. Zero, you say nests are fascinating. They are very fascinating indeed. But Hukumuri calling there, I think there are many of you who share my thoughts that while it's lovely to have him here, we're not quite ready to see Tingana go into retirement yet. But there's just something quite inevitable about the march of that big leopard, he's not that big, but that young, virile male leopard into this area, and something inevitable about the decline or contraction of Tingana's territory. Who knows what will happen as the winter comes. It's funny that these things tend to happen as the winter comes. No, it's not. It's not random either, Gail. You say sawing in response to another animal, or is it random? No, what it is, it's an advertisement. He's saying to all the other leopards in the area, I am here. It's possible he smelt another leopard where he is. I'm not actually sure where he is right now, but it's possible that he smelt where Tingana or Hosana have been to the loo or sprayed. Certainly in Tingana's case, he's still spraying, he's still marking territory. So it's possible that he's smelling that, and that's inducing him to soar. But basically, he's just advertising his presence and saying, this is my spot, and, the rest of you better stay away. And Tingana, if he's anywhere near here, would have heard that. Hosana would almost certainly have heard it over here. Oh, okay. Speaking of the old boy, let's go straight across to him now.
Well, we're just having a look here. Is this... I think it's Tingana. Yeah, I don't think this is Hosana. I think the music you can hear showed us Tingana. This is indeed Tingana. How cool. Very nice. So, Sebastian and I were here earlier, and we'd heard francolins and squirrels and things. Remember that?
Yes.
And I went and we stopped and we listened and we listened and we listened. And then nothing. But now, this is exactly what they were shouting for. Perhaps he was just laying in the grass and he hadn't quite woken up just yet. Now I need to figure out how to try and find him. Seb, let's quickly race round. Let's do this. Everything's falling apart. Come back here, Mike Pack. Thank you, Franklins. I'm sorry. Liars. I did. I called them. The liars just now because they were shouting and I didn't know what they were shouting at. We are in a bit of a dodgy area. So apologies, little gremlins, but I know that there's a little road that runs just up here. Meow. Right, So we'll try reposition, and well, we'll send you to Ralph, who's got another leopard for you to look at in the meantime.
There's everyone, and we've got this Hukumuri still, and now he's on the move again. After he had his drink, he had a bit of a call. They're just following up slowly behind him. We do have another game viewer in front of us, and they're obviously in charge of the lock, as we call it, the sighting at the moment. We've got guests with them. It's from Tingana camp.